implore every apex body of cooperative movement here in Africa to at least give a little concern for the participation of youth in cooperative movement. Before I wrap up my speech, I would like to extend my profound gratitude to every young cooperator that is present here. Our dear President of ICA-Africa, High Chief Tajudeen Ayola, for piloting the affairs of cooperative in Africa. Our great mother and mentor, the Regional Director, ICA-Africa, Dr. Chogi Sifa, for every bit of support that she gave us since we started this movement. And lastly, the ICA and CFN Secretariat for helping to pull this great event through. Once again, I welcome you all to Abuja and to this first ever training session of the youth in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for that good speech, the welcoming address. I'd like to recognize a few people before we kick off the training. I've seen the regional directors come in. Maybe you can stand. The regional director, just stand. The Vice President, ICA-Africa. And also the former Youth President, International Cooperative Alliance Africa. Thank you so much. So this is how the program is going to unfold. We've done the welcoming address. We're going to share with you briefly about worker cooperatives, introducing you to worker cooperatives. And then we'll get to understand how a worker cooperative is formed, the skills that are needed to form a worker cooperative, and also what it will take us as cooperatives who desire to engage in worker cooperative activities. What will it take us to have this kind of cooperative running? And then we'll have so many activities which are going to be conducted. We are going to do group work. We are going to do some skills assessments. We are also going to do some activities which will make us understand this theme of worker cooperatives. And the aim of those activities is just to get to know who we are and how we perceive this whole team of worker cooperatives. We have videos which are going to be shared. We have discussions which are going to be done. And far much better, we have some participants who are watching us online, and also some presentations will be done from the online. One of the presenters, Mr. Churian, is eagerly waiting so that he can make his presentation. So without taking much time, I'd like to invite our first facilitator, Tindi Stati, to come and share the experience by sharing some of the videos relating to worker cooperatives. But before she comes, Tindi has been with us for the last 2 days. And today she made a presentation about worker cooperatives. She's a programs officer, overseeing learning and adaptive activities within the USA-funded Cooperative Leadership Engagement, Advocacy and Research program, in short, CLEAR, implemented by an entity called Global Communities, which is based in Kenya. She has more than 7 years experience in the development field and has taken keen interest in knowledge management, cooperation, learning, and adapting practices in program development and implementation. Tindi has contributed to action research aimed at fostering cooperative resilience and has led efforts in conducting social systems network analysis to better understand the relationship between emerging and established actors in the Kenyan cooperative sector. She's also actively involved in promoting youth entrepreneurship through the worker cooperative business model. So you see, this is the resource person that we have here who has gone through the whole process of getting to understand what worker cooperatives are. And she's going to share with us her experience. And maybe Tindi, before you come, I've also seen the president has just come in. Okay. Then Tindi, you can just come and proceed. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Tindi.
Thank you, Eric. I won't introduce myself again. I think we now know each other. But I'm very grateful to the organizers of this event, our hosts, for giving us the opportunity as youth at heart to have this very important session. We were just having a conversation earlier with colleagues and participants about the importance of including youth in such conversations. And so I hope we're going to be motivated after this session to talk about worker cooperatives. So we have two videos that I think we'll begin with. Are we good with the videos? Because we are going to begin with those two videos, and as they set up, I'd like you to grab a piece of paper. This is going to be a very practical session. So it's not lecture style where you sit and listen. It's very participatory. The assumption is that we are youth at heart, and so we are going to be a bit vibrant. You know, we are going to have conversations. We are going to talk to the person who's sitting next to you because we have to share our opinions and all that. So I hope we are prepared. We've had lunch. We feel energetic, and we are ready for this particular session. So I think all of us have a notepad and a pen in front of us. Maybe before you play it, 1 minute, sorry. Before we go, we are going to watch two videos of two worker cooperatives. One is US-based, and the second one is Kenya-based. And this is a worker cooperative for youth. I think I spoke about the Kenyan one this morning, where we shared that they provide waste management services. So I hope that you'll take some notes because we're going to share our experiences. This is a new model, and we are borrowing a lot from what is happening globally, but we have to define as Africa what worker cooperatives are for us and how they are going to work for our youth. So based on what we will watch, I'd like you to just take some notes on your understanding of what a worker cooperative is, how can it work in the Nigerian, Cameroon, Ghanaian setup, and then we'll share that experience. So if you were expecting a lecturer or anybody to share, that's going to be a bit different this afternoon. We will want to hear from you. So I hope we're all set and prepared. We can play the video.
Kama enterprise na kuna watu wawili kama mimi yote na kichwa wetu mabaya kwa Alex kwa hiyo walikuwa na clean alafu kwa walipoenda na kujipata ndio tukasema watu tukokoteni wanaoiendea wateja wakaanza kuita naweza tuendelee hivi naweza tuendelea kwa wewe activity uko ni ndio na ndio but sasa ndio sana hivi za leo tunafanya kando na hiyo hatungeweza kuangalia kitu wingi. Sasa pia vijana wanaangalia mara ya kwanza alidharau, lakini tukiendelea waliona kuja hii pesa iko hapa, ndio wakaanza kuja mmoja mmoja vingine. So the thing that made us into the worker cooperative, hiyo moja vingine tushawachukua cooperative. Unajua kama mtu aende akuchelewe alafu kesho unataka kuipeleka kitu na pia ndio smoda ile ichukua na baada ile ya so hapo ndio tukiona kwa kumliko kwe jagakazi kuna maisha ya tukikaribia apart from only salary ya motivation that you get.
We found the worker to be to be used as entry point. We can raise new participation and then within the cooperative ecosystem together.
Nimeendelea sana mbele za ustendi, nimeendelea tena mbele za endelea na masomo kusema ya kwa imefanya sana
Nilikuwa ya ile ya shamba ile mama baada kushauriwa kwa sisi wanawake tukiwafanyia kazi kama hizo, lakini wakati tulienda kuitrain ilipatia ile kwa hizi ya zetu ya Afrika tunafaa kuwa na equity na equality.
Sisi kama
The worker cooperative model provides long-term jobs because the member is the worker, so the job security there. We also think that it provides better income for the member.
Watu walikuwa wanakuwa sana kwa tunamtia kazi leo anawacha kazi kesho, lakini sasa wako hivyo kwa cooperative mtu akatoa subscription na akatoa membership na bado atakuwa analipa kwa kazi.
I believe Kenya is very great right now for the cooperative, and more specifically for the worker cooperative. Given the advancements within the policy and legislative space, to encourage the worker cooperative and recognize it, and as well, having private worker cooperatives that are ready to advocate for the needs of the worker cooperative and promotion of the state of the country.
Tulikuwa tukiona mpaka ilikuwa na kujifanya na kujisoma ile kazi ya nini jamani. Naona dai kazi ya machokora hii inahitaji shule. Unaona? Lakini sasa hivi ndio tunaongea sasa hivi hawatumiki chokora. Sasa hivi wanatumika chingo. Na tumepata China kulingana na hii kazi tulichukua sisi.
Hi everybody. There's a little bit safer environment in you can hear, but yeah. So in the booklet is
that's the only. But I just think what in your mind? What should I ask you? But I'm coming to my mind that is what was here. Just put down on the what you get. What's Second volunteer. Thank you so much. Second volunteer.
Hey. Let's try. Everybody So we're going to just share what have you learned watching that video. Anything that has come to your mind. There's no right answer, there's no wrong answer. But we're talking about worker perspective. Between an example of a worker perspective in Kenya, you who are providing waste collection that is the name of the higher
Yes, after watching the videos, I discovered that there is initiative, hard work, and then cooperation. That's something I learned from the video that I saw now.
Thank you. So he says hard work, initiative, creativity. Can you expound a little bit on that? Creativity.
Yes, as you can see, they created something from nothing. They've gone where people were not expecting to get something out of it. They were there working hard to get something that will help, and then the cooperation that they use. That's something I understand.
Perfect. A hand for him. Okay, we'll go this way.
What I understand from the video is there is member economic participation. They are economically participate because the hard working that they are doing, they are paying maybe in kind, not in cash. The cash that they are supposed to collect, they can invest it as their share capital to the cooperative society. And probably at the end of the year, they may generate or they may earn dividends. If there is any business that the cooperative engaged in. So definitely they are economically participated for their hard working that they are doing. And there is also innovation. They innovate, they use their talent or skills. Probably they use their skills and knowledge. So instead of them to put savings on cash, so maybe out of their incomes, they are contributing economically and socially for their own well-being. So this is my understanding for these workers' cooperatives.
Thank you so much. A hand for him. We have time to share because we need to unlock how we have understood this model, right?
My understanding is that the creativity came as a product of, they look at the immediate need around them and they use the opportunity now to gain something out of it. And it gave them a sense of purpose, which I think is quite commendable.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think one lesson I'm learning here is, it's in the area of leadership. These two gentlemen, when they decided to embark on this project, it was like, they had to convince the others through their perseverance and their persistence and believing in what they were doing. So in the area of leadership, you need to be the kind of person who do not look at how people react to what you are doing, but rather convince them that what you are doing is the real thing and it's going to pay at the end of the day. That is the first area. And also, I like that they came up with something, because he says people would come one day and the other time they would not, when they were employed. But now, as they are in this cooperative, everyone understands that a return will only come depending on their hard work that they put on what they are doing. So I think these are the steps as they continue. They were addressing even the little areas which became an inconvenience into the operation, that, you know, once you join the people together for a common purpose, you also need to move in a systematic way to achieve what you are looking to achieve. Thank you.
Spot on. Anybody else?
I think what I can say about what I just learned here is that like the spirit of unity, the spirit of togetherness, and looking at what they display, showing that when we come together, we change a lot of narrative around us, especially with the youth, because out of nothing, you form something. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll take the last one. Then we'll watch the second video of our worker cooperative in the US.
I think what I saw on that video, I saw those people, they did what we call thinking outside the box. You know, in cooperative business, we mobilize funds, but in this one, they mobilized manpower. That is what I saw in what they do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is the second video ready?
Small businesses. In the pandemic, Baltimore, Maryland, behind the Department of Responsibility. Baltimore, Maryland State, Central, and I love that the city did that for us, and we did that because what we do here is majority of most of our lives. It's about more than just. You gotta have all important things, right? And we probably should die for this state. But because we have an opportunity to come on this, and some of us are, that we appreciate our life, appreciate our job. I really want you to talk about the state of their plan, how we might follow these same jobs to lead the opportunities next week. After lengthy transition, several from 20 part of the base of business to the work ownership. There are days where the tech can come up with a lot of things. Yeah, what we co-op, it's changed the solution so much. It's just giving gratitude that the employees can execute ownership, you know, that all does not go unnoticed. It makes you want to be better for yourself, no matter what. Have the obstacle set around you around. We're here to co-op, we'll be wealthy overnight. Everyone always says it makes everyone rich. That's not the case. That's often more demanding than a typical job. Everyone said that worked really hard to get into one of these where just because I'm an owner doesn't mean buying nice cars for 6 owners, and it's more of a responsibility in industries like with low pay and harsh working conditions.
Co-ops offer democratic workplaces and often better paying benefits. Our brothers, 14 workers who are not owners, take part in profit sharing and offer to package leadership.
We have an advantage of treating everyone fair, and that comes out in our product, which is why I believe our product is so good, because we give everyone an opportunity to become an owner, speak their mind, be a part of communities, go out and get education, got healthcare, things like that. It really makes them feel like, oh man, I gotta make each tank so special, each tub of ice cream that goes in any restaurant, wherever it goes, it's gonna be the best tub. It's also gonna have my name, and it does.
So in the pandemic, it brought hardship. The workers were ready to adapt.
About 70% of all our economy, we had to make a business pivot. We started our own delivery system. Which kept the business alive. Without home deliveries, a lot of our guys would have lost their jobs.
It wasn't easy to upgrade their entire business model.
They literally just all hands on deck. All the owners are doing deliveries to that item. Come in the morning early, to put all the things up on the freezer, or just, be able to get an extra hand with packing orders, or giving assistance wherever it's needed.
That to help brothers survive the pandemic, they grew to so many other small businesses like theirs, offers inside of the bigger trend. Although comprehensive data is not yet available, a survey of 140 co-ops across the country suggests that instead of simply closing down, co-ops are able to harness the collective decision making to adapt their businesses and avoid layoffs. But the collective decision making at the Harper Brothers teaches the sick worker owners with voting power can also limit how quickly a co-op can act.
We make all our decisions as a group, and we all try to make decisions that we can all benefit out of, that we all can agree on, and all think that is the right decision for all of us.
But the hardest part of it is probably 72 days at a time we fast. Especially when we're waiting for maybe and really sitting back eating ice cream for a couple hours.
But the biggest limitation co-ops face is lack of access to capital. Racist public policy rob Black communities wealth and wealth building opportunities for generations. The co-ops typically don't qualify for bank loans because they require collateral versus guarantees that are incompatible with cooperative structure. For years, the Marx Brothers struggled to raise investment. In 2013, they resorted to crowdfunding to raise money for a new ice cream truck.
Nonsense. Food truck, from business change truck, we put out so they can have business to take that. So a lot of our items, handbags, we're gonna handbags this truck. We're gonna pack the food truck, next thing pack, just like my street, brothers.
They hit their fundraising goal, they needed a more sustainable model. So in 2016, the Michigan Truck broke down, they received a $15,000 using grant from the Baltimore Roundtable for Economic Democracy. A then brand new decision just launched to provide local co-ops with technical and financial assistance unavailable anywhere else.
They let us know how it works to be a co-op, what things we have to do, what's going to be different from coming from corporate to now an owner. Making budgets for your department, helping us out with loans for specific, more equipment or more marketing things.
Brad started CPOS, a $25 million loan fund that since 2016.
So we don't take risk guarantees, we don't get risk credit, we don't take collateral interest in businesses other than the equipment that's purchased.
Helps go out behind the table, we gave them instructions that help them weather the crisis. None of the 60 co-ops that CPOS currently lists have been closed permanently due to the pandemic.
And that's not to say that businesses haven't had to shut down, it's not to say that workers haven't been temporarily laid off. But it is the case that every single one of those businesses that we've invested in has found a way to pivot, found a way to come back from the pandemic, it's continuing to operate, it's continuing to provide that access to quality, sustainable jobs, dignity.
2015 Congress second ranked Baltimore among the worst cities in terms of social mobility for African American youth. 2 out of 3 Black Baltimore residents face liquid asset poverty. And African Americans continue to face massive wealth and income gaps and disproportionate rates of arrest and incarceration. Co-ops alone can't fix this. but worker owners say they can be part of the solution.
I think it would definitely help our community, especially here in Baltimore, if people have something that they can work for, that they own, and that they can appreciate. But if there were more work to co-op, I believe there would be more people, you know, fighting for what they believe in, and the violence and everything will probably come down fair enough.
The story was supported by a grant from Solutions Journalists. Inspired us through exploring how co-ops across the country and whether COVID-19.
Thank you for that. And I think we are getting some just the introduction, every 30 minutes. So this is just an introduction. As we said earlier, the water cooperative model is our first allowed to Israel trade so that to get that knowledge and understanding. But I'm really excited to see that we're already beginning to pick key aspect of this particular water cooperative model.
Here we've seen the group of youth who are doing waste management collection. They have a chairperson, they have a secretary, they have a treasurer, and all these people still work. They are not there to sit in a boardroom and others go to work. No, you'll find that the chairperson is the lead, is the transport coordinator, for example. When they go to collect waste management, he's there, he's the driver, taking the members to where they're going to collect waste management. You find that the treasurer is the lead in marketing. He's the one going around the neighborhood, distributing flyers, looking for jobs so that residents can be able to give the cooperative jobs. So in a worker cooperative, you work. There is no going to sit in an office and, you know, so that's the difference between that model and the others. And we've seen in the US an example of how the youth are basically maneuvering around this. So I want to take this opportunity to invite Eric to invite our key speaker who will shed more light on the worker cooperative business model. And please continue taking the notes so that we can share.
A round of applause for Tindi. Thank you so much, Tindi, for taking us through the two critical videos relating to worker cooperatives. I'm going to invite the second speaker, as you've heard, is our key speaker, is watching us online, and is none other than Julian McKinney, is Democracy at Work Institute Co-Executive Director for Partnerships and Growth, guiding Dawis organization growth, strategic partnerships, and research, as well as communications. His work lives at the nexus of storytelling and tangible solutions for a more equitable economy, including family, financial security, regenerative economics, and employee ownership. While at Dawi, he has trained cooperative developers in the US and East Africa, more in particular, Kenya. He has also helped to lead New York City's worker cooperative business development initiatives and developed strategies to better reach the growing ecosystem of worker cooperative developers. As you can likely see, Julian McKinley is ready to give his presentation, and I'd like us to just give him a round of applause as he comes up to give us his presentation. Welcome, Julian, and please, you can be able to share your screen. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you, Tindi, for that wonderful introduction to Worker Cooperative. So as Eric mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And I hope you can all see that. Okay, so I would like to build on all that Tindi shared today to introduce you further to the worker cooperative model. And my hope is that by the end of today, you understand the reasons for worker cooperatives, why they exist, why people use them. In my short presentation, I will give an overview of the cooperative model. We'll go in a little bit deeper into some of the elements of what makes the model work well. And I'll also share some stories. And I think, as Tindi mentioned, we'll also have some time for questions when I'm done. So please write your questions as you hear me speak, and I will aim to answer them. And so I want to begin by defining a cooperative as an enterprise that is owned and operated by the members within it. members are in the cooperative to realize their own economic goals. And these members can be consumers, they can be producers or workers, and the members can either invest together, buy together, sell together, or work together. Now, what the members choose to do together determines whether the business is formed as a producer co-op or a SACO or a worker cooperative. And so whatever the reason is that they have formed, co-ops are all democratically controlled by their members, and they are driven by values and principles, including the internationally agreed upon cooperative principles. And as you likely know, the cooperative movement is far from being marginal globally. At least 12% of humanity is a cooperator in any of the 3 million cooperatives that exist on Earth. And so let's go a little bit further into the different models of cooperatives. So all cooperatives, as I mentioned, are made up of members, regardless of their type. In fact, cooperatives aggregate or collect all of the economic activity of their members. And what this means is that the type of activity determines the type of member. And the type of member makes all the difference for how the cooperative is structured. So for example, in SACCO, common in Kenya, members are putting money into the co-op and they expect to get credit from it. If you look at the little diagram here, you can see that the members are putting money into the co-op in exchange for credit. In agriculture co-ops, members are selling the product to the co-op in order to access greater markets or have more power to negotiate prices. So in the case of farmers, they're selling their coffee or milk under a brand name for their co-op. And again, this diagram here shows that the members are bringing products to the co-op and the co-op is providing them with money in exchange. Now, in worker cooperatives, members are selling their labor to the co-op, and in return, they receive wages plus the added benefit of profit sharing, as we saw during the videos. And so this last example is more intensive and intentional for the members, and it's a commitment of their working life in a way that non-worker owner members don't necessarily have to engage. And so this last diagram really shows the direct relationship between members putting in their labor and the output of money in terms of their wages and profits. So worker cooperatives, as we've established, are businesses owned and controlled by the people who work in them, the workers, no one else. That's a critical fact. Not the consumers of their product or service, not external shareholders, but the workers themselves. And this definition can be broken down further into 3 different characteristics that define what it means to be owned and controlled by workers who benefit from the activity. So first, let's talk about ownership. In a worker cooperative, workers make a financial investment in the company. The co-op then will decide what that amount is. It could likely be based on the industry they're in, the value of the company, the financial needs of the business, the number of members that they have, or any other factors. And in return, those workers will receive a share of the cooperative. Second, let's talk about control. So only the members of the cooperative can make decisions about the business. Decisions are made on a one-member, one-vote basis. And in a worker co-op, most decisions are made by workers through some type of voting, especially large decisions like starting a new line of business or bringing on new owners or even selling the business. All members get to have a voice through their vote, and each member gets one vote, regardless of how much time or money they've put into the business. Now, here in the US, there is typically only a one share each worker can own one share, whereas in Kenya, there is a limit on the percentage of shares any one person can own. But the basic idea is the same, that no one person can control the whole business, and the workers are making decisions and taking responsibility for that business together. And lastly, I want to talk about the benefit. It's a benefit from being part of the cooperative, and that is realized in a number of ways. So members benefit by getting wages for their work and also by sharing in profits. They benefit by learning about the business and having access to financial information about the business, also by having a voice and a vote and by having opportunities to grow and develop as people in the workplace. So a worker cooperative requires the most intensive commitment of its members of all the different types of cooperatives as we've established, and that's because they are selling their labor to the co-op. So what do the members want out of the co-op in return for this commitment? In other words, what are their economic goals and why do they choose a worker co-op? I'll go through a few reasons here. First, for first-time entrepreneurs, these are workers who want to share the financial risk of ownership and to share the skills needed to run a business. In some cases, one person may not have the money to start the business on their own, and others, they may not have all the skills required to run a successful business, so they would like to work with others to ensure their business is successful. For contract workers or gig workers, they want to make their jobs more secure and stable. By owning the business together, they can accomplish that. An example of this might be as, an example of contract work may be an Uber or a Lyft driver or someone who takes gigs to make deliveries. Now, for people with barriers to entry or have trouble finding work, this is also a great option. These are workers who simply want jobs. And if they can't be hired in conventional businesses, the worker co-op model allows them to create their own job, to be in control of their own destinies. These are people who may be unemployed for a long time, maybe they are formerly incarcerated or have other challenges to finding long-term and stable work. For folks in labor-intensive industries, such as house cleaning or baking, they want to control their labor and benefit from it. They know directly the value of the work that they do with their hands. They also are more susceptible often to unsafe working conditions. So they use the model to make sure that they are getting direct benefit from the labor that they're putting in, but also ensuring that they have a safe working environment. And lastly, some workers want to create businesses that are oriented around their values, with a vision for a different and better way to work and contribute to society. Many of these cooperatives also have the goal of environmental protection or community service. In these values-based businesses, they want a way to say and show they're motivated by more than just profit. So to repeat, worker cooperatives are businesses that operate in the marketplace. They sell services or products that offer value to customers, get paid for their work, are able to pay wages to the worker owners. And to succeed at this, they need business plans to map out the reasons that they think they will succeed. They need to have or develop markets to buy their products or services, and they sometimes need financing to buy equipment or a building or to resolve cash flow problems, just like any small business. And they always need management in some form, whether it is an individual who acts as the general manager or a team or a leadership committee. So a worker cooperative, as I mentioned, involves shared decision-making. We refer to this as having democracy in the workplace. It is a place in which workers are the owners and the ultimate decision makers. And there are 4 organizing principles that are important to know about here. A simple way to think about these principles is to use a metaphor of building a house. To build a house that will stand, you need a strong foundation, and that foundation is created by corner posts that make our house stand up for the long term. And the 4 corner posts of democratic management are 1, money. For example, worker cooperatives pay people for their work in the form of wages or salary, and they share profits, as we mentioned. 2, sharing information. So worker cooperatives share information that in conventional companies is typically reserved for management. And so co-ops may share financial information with members. 3, sharing power. This is where people gain voice and vote and contribute to key decisions. And 4, developing people. This is meant so that they can meaningfully share in money, information, and power. And this means investing in training and education for the business. I encourage you to make a note of these 4 corner posts as they are really what define the worker cooperative as a unique type of business and set it apart from other forms. All 4 of these corner posts, money, information, power, and people, need to be in place for a worker cooperative to be successful. So one question that we get a lot is, how do these corner posts align with the 7 cooperative principles? And they certainly do. I'm going to go into that here. You can see that money, the money corner post aligns with principle 3 of the cooperative principles, specifically member economic participation. Information represents principle 5, which is education, training, and information. People also has a principle. It aligns with principles 1, 6, and 7, which are voluntary and open membership, cooperation among cooperatives, and concern for community. And finally, power includes principles 2 and 4, which are democratic member control and autonomy and independence. So now I want to go through each of these corner posts in somewhat more detail. The first corner post, as I mentioned, is sharing money. So sharing in the financial rewards of the business is one of the strongest incentives for workers to participate in the cooperative. When the cooperative does well, it needs to return financial benefit to the workers. It also needs to reinforce that connection somewhat frequently. So there might be financial returns that occur more frequently than an annual profit distribution, for example. And when workers feel that they own a portion of the value they create, they are more likely to want to create more of it and contribute to that business's success. And there are several options that for workers to receive and feel this incentive. The first being just receiving cash, a cash distribution based on those profits. Secondly, the money can be reinvested in the business in ways that tangibly improve operations. For example, if a business needs to buy new equipment, so profits can be reinvested that way. And then some companies also dedicate a portion of their profits to community projects that will give workers pride or impact themselves out of work, and also really help account for the interest in positively impacting the community around you. Important in all of this is that workers who create the value choose how they reinvest the profits. They determine where the money goes and no one else. And lastly, and this is important, the pathway to ownership, the opportunity to have regular work or even profit sharing should be made available to the majority of workers, not just a few of them. The second corner post is concerned with sharing information, as we mentioned. And so in any business, managers should be watching outside of the company for market changes and inside the company for resources use, right? And so managers use this information to make choices and pivots, often will always in service of the business's stability, growth, and profit. But now in a democratic workplace, rather, this kind of management level information needs to be shared with all members, and information sharing goes both ways. Workers can hear analyses and also can contribute to it based on their shop floor knowledge. Research has often shown that there is higher productivity when workers engage in and contribute to strategic operational thinking. So here, transparency thought is worthless without transparency, though, is worthless without literacy. So workers need to be able to understand the information that is shared with them, not just see the information. And that requires that workers receive training in both general financial literacy and also in how your specific business makes money. A very common business literacy program is called open book management. And a key aspect of this is that it moves beyond just simple financial reporting, just sharing the books with members. It does that by engaging workers in predicting and tracking and influencing key numbers that are shaping the business's success. The third corner post is concerned with sharing power. So a useful comparison is to see power in a democratic organization like the power that citizens have in the political sphere in a democratic society. So we often refer to it as the power of voice and vote. With these powers, though, come rights and responsibilities. The primary right is the right to govern. Usually this means the right to vote for a representative board. Boards are involved most directly in strategic planning, policy development, and management oversight. And democratic organizations should have a written document that clarifies what workers' rights are. And these might include the right to vote on certain topics, or the right to participate in changes to the day-to-day work, the right to participate in strategic thinking conversations, the right to exert opinion or criticisms, as well as the right to education in order to participate meaningfully. These rights, of course, are balanced with responsibilities, and these members have responsibilities to do quality work, to learn what is needed to do your job and contribute as an owner of the business, to participate in meetings, to speak up, to contribute, and the responsibility to think of the whole, of the entire business itself. And so a worker cooperative's list of rights and responsibilities should be a part of its bylaws and legal binding. There are additional rights and responsibilities that can and should be developed with participation of everyone, and creating it contributes to the building of your ownership culture. And the fourth corner post, as mentioned, is concerned with developing people so they can meaningfully share money, information, and power. This goes to my comment earlier about sharing information where, transparency is important, but it is meaningless if you don't have literacy. So workers need to learn the skills to contribute to larger decisions, and to contribute to governing, to contribute to financial and strategic decisions. And to say that again, meaningful participation as a worker owner requires training. And that training that is needed, it requires a plan and a budget for the business to establish. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how someone goes about starting a worker cooperative. First, you might form a group of people who share the same values, who have a good mix of skills, both business and people skills, and you may look for a few more people to round out your skill sets. You'll identify your values as a group and start to work on researching your business individually and as a group, testing out what it's like to work together, and testing out whether people follow through or not on things they say they're going to do, if they communicate well or not. This is a stage where you want to assess what it will be like to work together and hold responsibilities together. Next, you'll identify your value proposition for your customers and determine if this is a good business idea. This is the same as any small business, because while a cooperative exists to serve its members, it is first and foremost a small business and needs to be profitable. So you'll write a business plan, which some can get help with if you haven't done before. You want to be sure that the business will be able to support the members with income to meet their needs so they don't have to find other work. Finding other work is something that some workers may need to do at the start, but you're aiming for the worker co-op to be your primary source of income. Your business plan should tell you if that's possible, and if so, by when. Then you'll need to learn about cooperative management and governments. This is how you'll build out the activities of the four corner posts that we mentioned, which includes communication skills, addressing conflicts, making decisions together, distributing profits, of course, how members will get paid and when, and then also how your values show up in the business. You'll also then need to go through just the regular steps to register your business and get started with operations. And then finally, you'll notice that member education here is ongoing throughout the business, whether it's before startup and once it's running as well. This includes education of new people joining the cooperative. You want to make sure that new members, not just the founding members, understand what makes working in a cooperative different from other types of businesses and work, so that they can assume the responsibilities of ownership. I'm now quickly going to share just a few more examples of worker cooperatives here in the US. And first is the Drivers Cooperative. This is a worker cooperative comprised of more than 3,000 drivers. The drivers cooperative was started to help drivers compete with Uber and Lyft. Many of them were formerly taxi drivers, and they were no longer able to make the same living, the same middle-class living that they were previously able to make. And so they came together to make a better living by making the drivers the owners of the business, not outside shareholders. They established an application similar to Uber and Lyft, and they ran an online crowdfunding campaign to help raise additional funds at the start of their business. And the business was also started with support from some union organizers who were seeking to improve job quality for drivers. So they knew the industry well, they knew the drivers well, and so they were able to bring folks together to create an alternative. And that alternative was a worker cooperative. Here's an example of a worker cooperative that was developed by a social service organization. It's called Beyond Care Child Care Cooperative. It was incubated in 2008 by an NGO and started with 19 founding members, and all those members lived in the same neighborhood. The co-op currently provides full-time, part-time, and rapid care nanny services to families around their city. And they started with 19, but now they have 45 members who are all trained in nanny care. And their mission is to benefit its members and community by offering quality childcare services and training. And lastly, here, this is an example of what we call sort of like a DIY co-op. There were a few members who saw a gap. They were, entrepreneurial, and they opened their business in 1986. The business is called Equal Exchange, and they formed with a social mission to sell fair trade coffee. Now they also sell tea and chocolate. They started with just 3 co-founders who wanted to have say and control in their workplace, but also do something positive in the world. And that was making sure that there was benefit to both farmers and consumers. They started with 3 co-founders, as I mentioned, and now they have 125 worker owners, plus the relationships that they have with producer co-ops throughout the world. And I will stop there and see if there are any questions, I think, and turn it over to Tindy and Eric. Thank you all.
So much today for that presentation. Maybe we can leave follows. There is I cannot take questions again. What I'm doing is speaking about this sort of competition. What are the areas that corners of what competition? How is it different from the next cooperatives? What is the money? Please pass the mic to Mr. Musa. You're doing a live question to Churian. So the floor is yours, Mr. Musa.
Thank you very much. This is a wonderful presentation, and thank you. I really appreciate it. Now, I think I'm understanding something when it comes to this, that what comes or what is needed here is a business idea that aims to actually help us not to look for help outside except ourselves. Now, what are the challenges? Because I think for everything that is good out there, it would come up with challenges. What would be the challenges maybe that has been already experienced, so that at least one is thinking along this line would also try to incorporate and try to prevent, going that same troublesome road and picking those challenges that could have been avoided. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Question on the challenges, please. Julian, maybe if you can take 2 or 3 questions and then you respond to them. Another question from the floor. Hey, participants, were you listening? there's a question on what are the challenges in relation to this worker cooperatives. Another question before I invite Julian to respond. Yes, there is a question there.
Yeah, this is a very good presentation. My question is that these workers' cooperative societies, are they keeping financial records as they will have the documentations so that the financial activities will be recorded accordingly, like a cash book, the general ledger, cash receipt, payment voucher, and other financial record documentations? Are they properly updating them? So that's my questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That's a question on financial management and the keeping of records of worker cooperatives. I hope, Julian, you are taking notes. Those are two questions. Another one, there's a hand here.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Looking at the steps in forming a worker cooperative, I was thinking a business plan will come before forming the group, because you need to have an idea of the business before you know the caliber of people to recruit. So I need more clarification on those two steps, the first and the second. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll invite now Julian to take up those three questions. And then if there are any other follow-up questions, then we can take them later. Okay, Julian, welcome. There are two questions.
Yes, thank you so much for excellent questions. So I'll start by addressing what the challenges are. I think I'll just go in chronological order of how the questions were asked. So the challenges for worker cooperatives, I should say first that the challenges that worker cooperatives face are very similar to the challenges that any small business would face. I think that, you know, and one of those challenges is access to capital. So do you have access to startup capital? Is there, you know, once a business is up and running, will you need capital to support growth? We talked a little bit about some of the reasons that co-ops might consider opportunities for growth. One might be a need to purchase equipment. It could be a truck. I know that, you know, actually I had a conversation with Keygrow Cooperative, who you all just saw a video of. They were able to purchase a truck, and that's, I think, is first of all, a great boon to their business, but also a very common challenge that small businesses are facing. How do we go from point A to point B and beyond? And capital access is certainly one of the biggest challenges to that. Now, one of the reasons that capital access is a big challenge is because many lenders are not familiar with the worker cooperative model. And so they may see a business with, say, 5 worker owners and not understand exactly how do I lend to an entity that has 5 different people who are owning it. Because of that, I think it is incumbent upon us all to, number one, continue to share information about worker cooperatives, the model specifically. But in addition to that, how can we help influence either policy or individuals so that they may be more comfortable with the framework and understand that the worker cooperative is a small business. It is a cooperative, and many banks have existing businesses with other types of cooperatives, for example, agriculture cooperatives. In addition to financial challenges, I think there are there are some skills that need to be developed in creating a successful business. One of the biggest skills is, as we mentioned, democratic management. How do we make decisions together? What structures can help us share information and do so in a way that doesn't hold the business back from its potential, but contributes to its meeting its full potential? There are plenty of best practices and resources to help a business to help members make decisions together. So it's just a matter of implementing those best practices, using the structures that are available, practicing decision-making, having open conversations so that everyone is on the same page and can come to a meeting and understanding the facts at hand and are ready to make a decision that is in the best benefit of the members and the long-term success of the business itself. I think I'll turn to the question about financial records. So I think if I understood the question correctly, it's our business is keeping accurate and robust financial records as a small business should be. And I think that the very short answer is yes and no. For across the board, it is, obviously these are best practices for businesses, and many worker cooperatives are keeping financial records exactly as you have, as you detailed. Because, just like any small business, these are the records that should be kept. And it's particularly important within a worker cooperative because the financial information needs to be shared with members so that they can help make decisions. Members are unable to contribute to those decisions if they do not have accurate and well-maintained financial records. Now, that's to say that not all small businesses generally, not just worker co-ops, keep the best financial records. And so I think that the reality changes from business to business, but the businesses that are doing it well certainly see the benefits of doing so. And it is a requirement of really having a worker cooperative that runs well, that shares information successfully, and is able to effectively incorporate all members into their decision making. And then finally, the steps to starting a worker cooperative. Thank you for this question. I think it was the order of business planning versus forming a group. And I think so this is a little bit tricky because it certainly depends on the skills of who is there, who's involved in the business when you begin to business plan. Someone who is entrepreneurial, someone who has specific skills. For example, let's say someone has skills in repairing cell phones or other electronic equipment. They may see a gap in their community where people don't have access to getting their cell phones or computers fixed in a timely fashion. And so they may say, I have these skills and can certainly fix them and start a business based off of this. While they can get it started and they can begin to take clients, there may be gaps in the full business plan that they don't have the skills to fill. It could be, how do we hire and grow the business? It could be, how do I market my business so that I can reach more people? It could be just even operations, so like while I may be great at fixing the phone, I'm not really sure how to set up an entire system so that I can ensure that clients aren't waiting for a long time. Those, I think, are the skills that someone may want to round out by including other people. And then those people can contribute to the full business plan, including the marketing, including the operations, including knowing the clientele well. So there is a little bit of, I think, like back and forth in terms of that business plan. And, but having that full business plan shouldn't keep an individual or three people from getting a business started, to saying we can go ahead and begin to generate income. But as you expand the number of people who are involved, I think that is an opportunity to build a more robust and sound business plan.
Thank you so much, Julian. I think he has responded to the 3 questions. Is there any other follow-up question? Yes, there's one here. Merivin, please bring the mic here. There's one question here. Over that, ready? Yes.
Thank you. I just want to know how they will, when they work together, as they're working together, how do they share the money? How much is the money going into the cooperative, and how much is going to an individual? So what percentage are they using to share the money coming to them?
Thank you. That's a question on the sharing of the proceeds of a worker cooperative. Musa, you have another question? Yes, there's another one here again.
Yes, I think the other, just to add on what she's saying, you will find a situation where when the number of the members is like, let's make an example, it's 50 members. Now, you will not expect these people to be working full force, all of them, to make that, you say, equal shareholding, equal distribution. Now, and also having that alone, does it then, when someone is not working like the other one, who is leading and pushing and doing all that, and someone decides to be a backbencher and other people are pushing that hard for him, do you expect to be paid, to be paid the same share? And also, we see some interferences in the space of some regulators where they will come with enforcing policies to say they want to see equal shareholding because you all belong to the same cooperative. Would such a thing, how would you manage the distribution issue? I'm just adding on what she's saying, that will not such bring that confusion, and how to manage such kinds of things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll take those two questions and invite Churian just to give brief responses to the questions, two of them.
Yes,
welcome.
Thank you, Eric. I think, so I'm going to bundle them together, the two questions, because I think, as you just said, they are interrelated. And so let me start by saying that typically a shareholder, there are a couple of different elements to think about here. One is the share with respect to your vote. Understanding that each shareholder should have one vote within a worker cooperative, so you don't have unequal say. There isn't one person who will have 5 shares, and so their vote outweighs one person who has 1 share. That is separate from the idea of profit distribution, which is really, in most cases, defined by the amount of hours that someone is putting into the cooperative. So if we go back to the idea that the member is selling their labor to the cooperative to receive a financial benefit, not everyone, as you've just astutely mentioned, is putting in the same amount of hours. So if I work, let's say, if I work twice as much as you, the amount that I'm putting in and the amount that you put in are both being taken into account at the end of the year, when the business is looking at its books and saying, okay, we have a net profit of 1,000 shillings that we need to distribute to members. And so I would, because I worked twice as much as you, my profit distribution would be twice as high as yours would be, because I put in more labor than you did. That is how that sort of evens out. It allows you to create an incentive for workers to continue to work, so that they see the amount that they're getting at the end of the year. But it also accounts for the reality, which is that if you do have 50 members, as you mentioned, not everyone is going to be working the same. Some of that is by choice, some of that is by availability, and some of that is also by just the number of members that you have in the cooperative. So if members wanted to work more, you may have a smaller number of members in the cooperative. If you needed to work less and create more and serve more clients, you might have more members in the cooperative because business is booming. But again, on an individual basis, the number of hours that I put in, and those are calculated at the end of the year, will determine exactly what percentage of the profit that I receive.
Thank you so much. A round of question. Okay, please pass the mic to Cindy. I hope she's giving more
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah, just a
in relation to
comment.
what Julian has said.
To add on what Julian has said, from our experience in Kenya, that question comes up a lot on what if we have 100 members and there are no jobs? These members have registered to be part of the worker cooperative. They'll just be sitting in the office and doing nothing. So what one of our worker cooperative partners is doing, and that is the women solar engineers that we saw, they are matching the jobs in the market versus the number of members that they are onboarding in the cooperative. Because currently, I think they have about 40 members, and all these members are busy at any single given time. So as a worker cooperative, when you start to form in a group, because you start as a small group, you can't start 50 people all at once. You go, no. It doesn't, at least from our experience, we've not gone through that type of setup. Usually it's 2 people, like we've seen for Kigro. They sat down, saw an opportunity, they invited their peers, and as it grows, the jobs grow. So I think it's advisable to look at what are the job opportunities in the market vis-a-vis the membership that we are onboarding. So for the women solar engineers, they've put a cap to their membership. And we were asking, why aren't you onboarding more women? They said, no. The market job rate is, we have to onboard depending on the jobs in the market. So I think that should answer your question. It's a very good question. We get that a lot. We need to think strategically. And that's why when you're formulating that business, ensure there's a need you're trying to address in the market. Don't just form a business for selling, providing services that are not needed by the market, because you'll find yourself seated in the office as members and there are no jobs. What do? The members start telling you, we want money. You told us to join the cooperative, there are no jobs. So what is the need you're trying to solve? If it is a well thought out need for your business, you'll find that the membership will grow as the jobs will grow. Thank you. Sorry for taking too long.
Thank you so much, and Tilly, for that addition. Thank you, Julian, too, for the presentation and also for the response that you've given to the participants in relation to the questions that they have asked. We'll continue with the training. We hope you will continue staying so that you listen to what is going to happen. Because of the interest of time, we're not going to go out. We're just going to go directly to the next session, whereby I invite Cindy to take us through the skills assessment. What are some of the skills that are needed for one to be able to form these worker cooperatives? So we'd like to understand from you, because our expectation is after this training, we want to see more worker cooperatives formed across Africa, and more so here in Nigeria, where we're being hosted. So Cindy, please welcome and take us through that exercise.
Thank you so much, Eric. And a round of applause for Julian again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our team, when we started off, just like you, we were green. We didn't know what worker cooperatives were. And we had a very interesting session with Julian, and we really appreciate that he continues to mentor and guide us even as we move by. So we are going to start finalizing, but we want to look at a very important session, the skills assessment. And I think this is something that we've already spoken about. When you're starting a cooperative, what skills are there? When you start as a small group, you need to ask yourself, what are your strengths and what are your skills? So in front of you, there's a paper, and I want you to take 2-3 minutes to look through this paper and ask yourself, where do your strengths lie? But before you do that, I want us to form worker cooperatives as we are seated here. Let's take 2 minutes in each of our tables. Let's think of a specific sector that we want to form a worker cooperative. We've been trained on how to think about forming a business. So let's take 2 minutes, and then we start forming these worker cooperatives as we speak. If you want to form one that provides nursing services, it's okay. Think of a name, and that is going to be your worker cooperative.
Yes.
If you want to form one for engineers, please do that. For architects, do that on your table. And then you're going to tell us as we wrap up, what is that name for your worker cooperative, right? Let's take 2 minutes and do that. We are wrapping up, and I know now we have experts in worker cooperatives development.
There's
no worker cooperative with 1 member, so this one is not a worker cooperative. At least 2 members going forward. Think about the need in the sector. What is that need that you want to solve? And then form a business around it. This should take 2 minutes. It's not very technical. As we think about our businesses, let's think about the skills that we have. Now you're a worker cooperative. Ask the member seated next to you, what skills do you have? And there's a list of those skills on the paper you're looking at. Are you strong in finance? Are you strong in governance? And then you start ticking against those. Because in a worker cooperative, you need to have someone who is managing your money, right? You need to have someone who is managing the members, managing your money. And if you do not have those skills for now, it's okay. You're just starting. And that only means for your business, you're going to have to look for somebody who has those strengths so that they can contribute to the business. Sorry about the noise interruption. I'm looking forward to hear about the worker cooperatives that are being established in the room today. Okay, are we making any progress? I want to hear from which worker cooperative are you? Not yet. Oh, they can't. Very good. That's good. Which worker cooperative do we have here?
We're thinking of basketry, livestock keeping, and babysitting.
I think babysitting is, I mean, we have many people who are doing that today, especially the women, right? Yes.
Thank you. In Botswana, we have basketry, cooperative, and then livestock keeping, small stock. And the livestock keeping, the small stock keeping, it was funded through Ministry of Youth. So these young men and women are keeping sheep and goats. And after selling, they share the money, not all the proceeds from the sales. And I've just been told that tomorrow, because the president will be having a meeting in the nearby village, they'll be there to request for more goats from him as a donation. Thank you.
I don't know if we can hear each other. Can we hear? I think when we share, let's elevate our voice. There's another important meeting, but there's a suggestion that we should tell them to keep quiet, right? Well, we'll just elevate our voice so that we hear. So this one here is a worker cooperative for babysitters. Isn't that an interesting one? Because today in our setups, the father has gone to work and the mother has gone to work. It's not like before when our mothers stayed at home to take care of us. Today our mothers also have to go to work. And when they have small children, who takes care of them? There's an opportunity, right? And that's how we should think about business. where is the opportunity? Who will take care of that small child when the mother is born? So there are women in Botswana, as she shares, who have seen this opportunity. They are forming groups, and then what they can transform that group into a worker cooperative. A hand of applause for them. And I know right now they are looking at what skills are there in that cooperative, because those women who are going to take care of the children, some of them have managerial skills, some of them are good, you know, they can keep money very well. And those are the skills that you want to look out for when you form that business, right? Which worker cooperative is here? Yes. I thought it was easy. Which one is here? Is it engineers?
Yeah, we are just thinking about having a group of people who have skills, especially when it has to do with construction. You know, having different skilled people where you have plumbers, you have masons, you have tilers, and carpenters, you just name it, because it looks more of an industry on its own. When they go out, they'll be able to harness ideas, working together as a group, so that you're in need of this. Oh, we can do it from the scratch, from the foundation to the finishing. We have people that can offer skills at different aspects whenever it's needed. So it's something that we think we can pull those people together with the same ideas, so that they now work as a group and as a team, and it will go a long way to be able to, like, you know, they have labor to provide, to be able to have finished product, and then in return, they get paid for it.
Who is looking to build a house, or who is building a house? Because you have the worker cooperative here, they are ready for business, right? So we have the babysitters, we have the construction workers. Which worker cooperative do we have here?
Madam, ours is a cooperative consulting company, cooperative. So it's a consulting cooperative company, because I'm accountant, she's a lawyer. She's in arbitration section, her work, and I'm in auditing section. So definitely, if she find the people of her profession, like I too find that one, so we will do the consultation services. The services of the babysitters, they can apply for our services. They will be our clients. We can do their services. Those engineers also. So ours is a cooperative consultant services.
Hand of applause. I really like how we are thinking service provision. They've already seen a gap that they can fill with the babysitters. Sometimes as babysitters, the mother will come home and they'll accuse you of doing something you have not done. Where do you go? There are consultancy services here that this cooperative offers. Which cooperative are you? Which worker cooperative are you?
We are brainstorming on a kind of farmers workers cooperative. The management will source for land, then also mobilize people that will work. If you remember the first presentation, I'd mentioned a twist or a shift from mobilizing funds to mobilizing manpower. So when the cooperative is well organized, you just discover that we're able to mobilize people to work, and they become members of the cooperative. And when the proceeds come out, they share.
I have a question. What service is your cooperative providing to the market? Because workers work. As a worker cooperative, you are working. So what is that specific service that you're providing? I like the idea, but what is that service that your cooperative members are providing to the market? And as they think about this, let's start thinking about that when we are forming the cooperative, because we are the ones who will be working. They'll be the babysitters. It's not that they'll hire and they'll sit back and no. We are all workers. We are all members. We all make decisions. So let's think on those grounds. This one, does it qualify as a worker cooperative? Yes or no? No, right? At least 2 members going up. So this one is still in the process of formation, and you can join the construction workers, the babysitters, or the consulting company.
Ours is livestock production. We are intending to divide the work amongst ourselves. Some will be producing the crops, some will be rearing the animals, maintaining them, taking care of them, like veterinary personnel, and also processing personnel too, then marketers. That's it. Thank you.
That's perfect. And I like that they've already identified the skills amongst them, right? There are those who will be producing, those who will be doing the marketing. That is how you think about membership when you're forming a worker cooperative. Don't engage with members who are doing something different, way different from what you're doing as a cooperative. You'll not succeed. This one is, which worker cooperative are you?
Okay, thank you. On this table, we think that as we look in this hall, we have all these plastics all around the place. And we're thinking that we can engage in recycling of the plastics. Okay, that is part of waste management.
You want to share more, but that's a brilliant idea, recycling. So probably building on the Kigro recyclers, going around the neighborhood, collecting plastics. That's a huge, huge market that we have. At least in Kenya, I know it's big.
And also to transform the plastics into some useful products for marketing. We're still working on that for now.
I hope you have experts who know how to recycle. I hope you have a treasurer. I hope you have a manager, and they are also going to be part of that process. But that's a brilliant idea.
So we are trying to form a form of mobile conventional store, whereby maybe civil servants or workers that are busy, that can't easily go shopping, can make an online order. They are going to need an app, a secure app where people will apply or request for goods. Then we need to distribute ourselves. Maybe you have somebody like the distributors. We'll need people that will go to the markets, get what people need, and deliver it at doorstep for them.
Awesome. And I'm hungry already. Papaya juice, you said? You're going to produce papaya? Or what was it? Anything. It has to be something. There has to be a name to it. Maybe I'll help. They want to, for example, produce juice. And the service they're producing is you order online and then they deliver, right? And we're getting into e-commerce. These days, you can order for something online and then get it at your doorstep. So I like that idea. Let's build on it. As a business, you cannot be working on anything. That's dangerous. You can go any direction, right? So let's think more specifically. Finally, we want, how many worker cooperatives have we formed today? How many are those? Those are many, right? Can you imagine? We just today, in the few minutes we've had, we formed over 6 worker cooperatives. Let's listen to the 7th one here.
Thank you very much. We are talking about the same farmers cooperative, but this time around, we are looking at the poultry section of agriculture. So looking at it, we are looking at the gap between the production of meat and egg within the society. And coming with that, you have to look for skills that matches the poultry, or let's say the agricultural sector. Like when going for the hiring, you get those with a little bit experience of agriculture or a graduate of agriculture that will look after the birds, those that will attend the birds for the birds. And in the same section, you can also produce feed for the birds. So you can create another group again that can go into the farm, farm for those raw materials that are going to be used, then bring it back, get another one with the skills of compounding the feed, compound the feed, and feed the birds. From there, you can now get those that will go into selling the birds either live or frozen, and those that are going to sell only eggs, and those that are going to use the feather, because I know they use the feather to fill in pillows and other things. So that is what we are looking for. Thank you.
It's wonderful. Poultry Production Worker Cooperative. They are focused on poultry. And I like how they've already defined the skills and the product. There was a question somewhere about, should we form the group before we form the business plan? And I think yes, the person who asked the question has come in. So unfortunately, you missed on a very good example here. A group was formed and they didn't have a business plan, did they? They formed and then he's just generally summarized their business plan. So it is possible to first of all have the group and then from that group establish your business plan. This one here does not qualify as a worker cooperative, does it? You are in business. Where are your members? Oh, they've come. Now we are more confident.
We are working on maintenance of computers, televisions, and so many other things. So we're going to be looking for more people that are professionals in this regards, so that we'll be carrying out all these services. Like this program now, what they are all handling the issue. And in terms of sharing the proceeds, let's say 50% goes to the cooperative, then 50% service ourselves too.
It's actually the first worker cooperative that has thought about money already. They have thought about their business plan. They're already sharing the money. But they're already working. You can see the equipment is here and they're working. That is very good. Ladies and gentlemen, I think now we are headed somewhere. This was just an introduction. When we start to understand how the worker cooperatives operate, you'll be amazed at the myriad of opportunities that are there to form businesses and address actual needs in the market, right? So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I know in the interest of time, we had a whole program set up. We won't go through all that, but I hope that ICA-Africa, through the president, has seen how we can rally around advocating and learning about workers' cooperative. I hope there'll be another opportunity for us to now move this business to the next level, right? We want to see the babysitters at work. And please, as you leave, think about these skills on this paper. The one very important thing in workers' cooperative is the skills. Do we have the skills necessary? And is our business proposition ready for the market? If we get that right, then we are going to make money. We are not going to look for the government. We are not going to go to the banks. As youth, and this is just not only for youth, but for everybody, we will be able to define employment for ourselves, make that money for ourselves, and improve the communities where we live in. So I just want to thank you, Eric. I think that was a round of applause for each and every one of us.
I think has done a great work. A round of applause for her. I think now we've come to the realization that there are so many opportunities out here, and we need to grab those opportunities so that we can make good use of them. And one thing which was coming to my mind when the groups were giving their ideas, case on how to go about this worker cooperative. Worker cooperative doesn't have a limitation to the sector to which you can form a worker cooperative. be it beauty, be it transport, be it agriculture, be it housing, be it consumer, be it artisanal. So long as you identify a service, you can be able to form a worker cooperative from there. And when Julian was presenting, he mentioned 4 critical things that make up of a worker cooperative. He talked about issues around information. He talked about issues around money. He talked about issues around power. Which is the 4th one? People. So if you don't have those pillars, then it means that your worker cooperative is not functional. So when you're forming your worker cooperative, you need to think around those four pillars. And also one thing which stood out for me is, you can be able to differentiate clearly what a worker cooperative is from other cooperative business models. Remember, we are talking about agriculture, we are talking about housing cooperative, we are talking about consumer cooperative, we are talking about insurance cooperatives. With worker cooperative, you can be able to distinct it from those other cooperatives because it's the workers who are offering services to the cooperative that they have formed. Are we together? So I think this is so critical, and I'm so glad that you remained behind so that you can be able to listen to this wonderful presentation. So we've come to the end of that particular session, and I'd like to thank both Tindy and Julian for sparing their time to share this knowledge with us. And as we all know, knowledge is power. So we've given you the power so that you can go and exploit that power that you've given unto us. I like to invite the presidents. I like us to combine like everything so that we move out of this place. I'm sharing the presentation so that the team at the end can be able to project. The president, maybe you can any comment from the floor as I share the presentation to the technical team so that they can project it. We want to go to action planning for the year 2024. And as young people, as we are seated here, we need to devise an action plan for us, for ourselves in the coming year. And I've heard like the technical team is not there. So I'll just give a brief of what we are thinking as the International Cooperative Alliance Youth Network. In the welcoming address which the president gave, he mentioned quite a number of challenges that young people are facing. And in the different countries where we come from, we're not isolated. Those challenges, we see them. Challenges of unemployment, challenges of climate change, challenges of having the old people taking up roles which are supposed to be taken by young people. There are also issues around not having young people on the table so that they can be able to hear and discuss their issues. And there is this one study which was done by the World Bank and also in collaboration with the Africa Development Bank, whereby they said we have close to 200 million young people who are between the age of 15 and 24. And this group of young people face quite a lot in terms of the challenges. The challenges are quite many for them. They are myriad. And we are being told that the current trend indicates that this figure might be able to double by 2030. So you can just imagine if we have 200 million, like in few years ago, of young people who are facing quite a number of challenges in the continent, this figure is going to double by 2030. So we have close to 400 young people who would be facing the same challenges that the 200 million people are facing currently. And we need solutions for these challenges that we are seeing. And it has been noted, it has been observed, it has been presented, and everybody has come to a conclusion that the cooperative business model can offer solutions to some of these challenges that we are seeing. And one of the solutions can be through the worker cooperatives, the training that we've just received today. There are also so many other sectors in the cooperative movement which can be able to offer certain challenge solutions to these issues that we're seeing. So the International Cooperative Alliance Youth Network was formed so that it can be able to organize young people and bring them onto a table so that they can have a discussion on how they can be able to solve these challenges that they are facing. So the aim of this youth network is to promote cooperative values and the principles as described by the Articles of Association of the ICA-Africa, and also the mission of the International Cooperative Alliance as provided in Article 1 of the ICA-Africa, and then the aims and objectives as reflected in the ICA strategy through the promotion of youth in the cooperative business. And I think there is a presenter yesterday who said that we need to think around inclusivity. We cannot talk of sustainable development if we leave some people behind. So we need to bring these young people on board so that they can be able to provide solutions for themselves. So we have to ensure youth inclusion and mainstreaming youth in the ICA activities as well as the policies that they make, which also encompasses some of the strategies that we see, and also making sure that these young people participate in all the ICA and cooperative activities that we have. It also aims to increase the active participation of young people in the governance and operations of their cooperatives and in cooperative structures affiliated to ICA. So what we see at the ICA level needs to be cascaded down into the societies, the unions where we come from. We need to see young people coming up, taking up leadership positions. We need to see young people embracing activities around cooperative development. So the International Cooperative Youth Committee has got rules which guides their operations, but also they developed a strategy in 2017, which guides some of the works that they do. And at the global level, we have the president, and at regional level, we have also presidents. So in the Youth Executive Committee, which is chaired by the Global Youth President, has the regional president acting as the vice president of the Global Youth Committee, as well as from the different regions that we have within the International Cooperative Alliance, we have members at large. And from Africa, the member at large is from Tanzania by the name Mr. Mabruk. So some of the activities that we've carried this year includes we've engaged young people in training, capacity building. We had an online training in the month of March where young people were introduced to various teams in cooperative activities, cooperative management, as well as cooperative governance. And I'm happy to note that one of the youth who participated in the training from Nigeria is lightly seated across me, Mr. Badecho. And he received a certificate, and those who participated in the training for engaging in such kind of an activity. At the same time, we did a leadership exchange program whereby we picked through a competitive process some young people from the 4 regions where ICA operates to go and have a leadership program in Spain. The trip was fully sponsored. We had one participants from Egypt, making to the final list of the people who were selected to go for this leadership program. So the young people went, the young person went, he learned, and he came with experiences. And he has done wonders in Egypt. He has mobilized young people, he has brought them together, they have formed cooperatives. They are also assisting some of the unions where they come from to embrace the issue around youth inclusion in cooperatives. We have organized this training today, the training on worker cooperative, which more or less has enlightened us on what is supposed to be done in terms of embracing the issues around worker cooperative. So then, when we were sitting down with the president, we thought that we needed to come up with an action plan for 2024. And as you can imagine, we don't want to initiate processes from the leadership table. We want to get feedback from the members so that when we are developing the work plan for 2024, it is rather informed by the members as opposed to from the leaders. So we want a more or less kind of a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach in coming up with this youth program. There are quite a number of proposals that we are putting on the table. One of them, we need to continue with the capacity building programs. We need to engage young people more so that they can be able to understand what cooperatives are, how to encourage more young people to come onto cooperatives. We want these young people to have exposures. We want them to have exchange programs. And you know, you cannot grow if you can't move from the comfort zone where you are. So we need these young people to move from where they are, get out, and get to learn what is happening outside there. So that's one activity which we are fronting to you, the youth capacity building program. We are also thinking of expanding the youth network. As you can imagine, we thought today we could get like 1,000 young people coming for this training, but I'm surprised that very few young people are here. And this is a challenge from even the leadership level coming down. Very few people are at the top there. Coming down here, very few young people are participating or engaging in activities related to cooperative development. So we need to expand this youth network. We need to have more young people coming on board so that they can be able also to experience some of these goodies that we're seeing. We need to have these young people also come together in a forum so that they can be able to learn, they can be able to appreciate what is happening. And in the year 2024, we are thinking of a youth summit. We are thinking of a youth summit. The details of it, we've not crystallized it, but once we sit down with the recommendation that you're going to give here, we're going to have that youth fund summit. And also we are thinking activities around engaging young people in correcting best practices from where they come from, but also engaging themselves in research. Very few young people presented here today or a day before today. We need young people to know how to conduct research. We need young people to know how to go to the field and get data from there. We need these young people to understand once you've gotten the data, how you're supposed to analyze this data so that you can package it as an information which you can be able to share to other people. So those are some of the activities that we are thinking, and I'd like to invite the youth president so that they can give us guidance on just take a few more proposals from the floor of some of the activities that you think we should be able to take up, and what should be like the plan in this coming year, 2024. Mr. President, I think it's your turn now. Please come and guide us.
Thank you very much. I just hope this educative section was impactful, because I can see from the response you guys gave, I believe whatsoever we organize here is being achieved. So thank you for your patience to stay back and witness this first phase of training that we have as part of our action plan for the year 2024. Well, we just said we should start with this little training and see how we can advocate for the involvement of youth into cooperative. So far, I don't know if there is any advice or comments from you guys that you would like to give us so that we will be able to adjust for the action plan we have for 2024 so as to achieve these great events we are planning. Thank you. No, any comments? So I think let's share. Okay. Where is it?
Okay, thank you very much. Some of us were like amphibians. We are between the adults and the youths. I can safely operate as an adult or as a father and also operate as a youth. So I want to just advise the youth body. One thing about, you said action. It's a matter of, you just start. If you keep planning, and you don't take your first step, you may not go anywhere. So I want to advise the people in charge of the youth arm is action, action, action. A cup of action is better than a basin of promises. You act, you see the result. Thank you very much.
There's another question here.
Okay. Thank you very much for the time well spent here to be part of the youth session forum. Just like he said, well, I wouldn't say I'm more of the on the youth side, but I look it at, you know, facially, and let me try to bring myself at this level. One thing I think that I really want through the youth arm, if it can be advocate, the issue of education, because there's need for advocacy. And one of the things that I will desire, if through the youth wing will be able to achieve, is that how we can have more of cooperative education in our institutions, how it can be cascaded, because that is where the interest is going to pick up. If you have a lot of, you know, those courses introduced in our education of higher learning, and possibly even involving the curriculum within even the secondary schools, it gets to whet the appetite of the young people coming up to be able to know that there's something they can always leverage on, so that the issue of struggling to have youth participation into this thing, you know, some of us were privileged to have courses like entrepreneurship and other thing, but we want it full blown, so that if you're taking cooperative courses, you know you are taking cooperative as a course of study. By the time you inculcate that into the system through your advocacy for a voice to be lean within the nation, I think it's going to go a long way that we'll have more youth participating in cooperative, because already they've already gotten the rudiments, and it's now time for them to now launch out, just like somebody said, action. You'll discover even within the academia, you will have youth that will be willing to even begin to form cooperatives even within the schooling environment, not really waiting till we finish before we find ourselves in the cooperative system. So that's just my own little take about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another comment from the floor? Another comment? I think, Mr. President, there's no further comment from the floor.
Hello, thank you very much for your comments and suggestions. As we said, sir, we are here to take the bull by the horn, and for this program we just organized is not part of the planning, but it's part of the action we are talking about. So we know we are starting little, but we hope we are going to do better than this in the next 1 year, because we are not going to take it far. And that is why even when we got the opportunity, we said, no matter how little, let us come together and see what we can pull through. And with your attendance, I believe you guys can go back home and enlighten more on what we've just discussed here. And we hope we are going to see more of our age brackets here when next we have such a wonderful and educative event. Thank you very much. So I would like to share a little of the action plan I told you we have for next year, 2024. Which we believe you guys can take note and see where you can come and put your own contribution from home, or either in kind or in whatsoever way. So for 2024, we are looking to expand the youth network, just like what he said. We are looking to expand the youth network, get more members, and with the advice he just gave, we have gotten another way of advocating the youth participation in the ICA-Africa, not even ICA, not even ICA, but to the grassroots, So that is one of our plan for next year. Then the continued training. This kind of activities is going to continue. It's not just a one-time event or just an event that is going to be capitalized on such event that just finished happening, like conferences or something. We will stay and see how we are going to come up with trainings that will impact the youth, so that they will go back to their various locations and see how they are going to also deliver these messages and make these people know what cooperative is all about and why they should join cooperative, instead of just moving around, following the politicians or waiting to be given appointments, staying at home and shouting, there is no money, there is no money. We just hope through this cooperative, we are going to upgrade the living standard of this upcoming generation by the special grace of God. Then the next one we also put in mind to achieve next year is the leadership exchange program. The leadership exchange program is based on coming together from different regions, different parts of the country, to come and share our leadership skills and experience and also learn from each other. Where we have lapses, I think Mr. A can have a different perspective of leadership, while Mr. B have a different perspective of what Mr. A is not seeing. So coming together with this leadership exchange program is going to help to build a future leaders in cooperative by the special grace of God. Then lastly, the African Youth Summit. I think this will be the first of its kind if we are able to achieve it, which we hope. We are going to gather all the youth from this region to come together and share the base of cooperative experience they have. And from there, we will be able to look at it, whether it's a program that we are going to do it yearly or 2 years after, so that it will be part of the sensitization program of youth network in Africa. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. That is all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. And I think we are going to share the presentations which have been done here, and also the action plan. And we hope we'll continue to the engagement so that we expand and develop this youth network. So thank you so much for taking your time to listen to us. Thank you so much for your active participation. We wish you safe travel as you go back home until we meet again. Thank you so much. Bye.